Everybody, Don Giannetti, Lighting-Essentials and Project52ProSystem.com. This is a class in shadows. We're going to do some shadow play. One of the things that we work on so hard in commercial photography so often is mitigating the shadows and keeping things lit, etc. But for this assignment, we're going to use the shadow as a part of our composition. You can't have light without shadow. It would be boring. And we want the shadows to have a chance to really rock, okay? So we're going to start out by this with this shot by David McClellan. This is the sort of the opening look. Did you catch that pun there with the chest? The opening, never mind. The opening look here with some shadows coming in and revealing some of the shapes that we have here. This shadow, I think you would agree, this shadow is a big part of the image. If they were softer, if the shadows coming from the base here, if they were softer shadows, it wouldn't be the same shot. And that's okay. This is the shot David wanted. Let's take a look and see what David did to get this shot. He brought a light in very close, closed it off with some barn doors, and shot it. The light is in so close, by the way, that if you think about our edict of the closer the light, the bigger the light, the softer the light, then you'll understand that this head here, this big, is pretty good size compared to the items down here. What does that do to the shadow? Well, it softens the edges. It creates a bit of a soft approach to it. And so if we want very hard edges to our lighting, we're going to have to use a very small light source, like Denise did in this photograph. She really wanted the knife shadow to be a part of it, so she's included it beautifully here. Not a very difficult shot to do. Denise did it beautifully, but not really difficult when you know that we have that one big light, the sun, to make it work for us. So she's right next to the window. The sun is shining. The sun is a very small light source compared to the knife, and so we get this beautiful sharp edge. And you can see how she's used the shadow as a huge part of the composition. This shot is not the same without the shadow. If we soften the shadow, it's not the same. The shadow is really important to this image. This is Denise Jensen's. Let's check out Elizabeth Favara. Elizabeth has some great shadows coming in here. Look at this, how she's ringed this rock with the shadow. She's got a shadow over here. The shadows are as big a part of the image as are the subject. That's what we want in this particular assignment. We want you to think hard and long about the shadows. We want to see them. We don't want them to be soft. We want to be able to visibly see them. Elizabeth used a single light a little bit farther away than our first photograph, so we got a little bit sharper light, but it still falls off pretty quick. And we get this real sharp edge right in here and right in there. If your light is in a reflector like this, the reflector is bouncing light in different directions. And so if you're going to put it in one like this, understand that you're probably going to have these little things that pop out from it. It's going to give you multiple directions of light. What's happening is that is one side of the reflector, that is the other side of the reflector. Let's look at the reflector again, see what I'm talking about. The light's in the dead center. Then you have these two guys on the side, these shaped conical edges to the reflector, and they're shining this way, and this one's shining that way, and creating those double and triple shadows that we see here. That's fine. I don't, I should make sure that I'm saying to you that that's not a problem. It's just that something you have to know it. Because if you wanted a really hard shadow, you would take off the reflector and just use the bulb. That would be the hardest shadow you could get here. Oh, we got one backwards here. Umberto took this little stack of things. I think the setup that we had here, yes, this is the setup for a different shot. I'm sorry, but he used the same light. I think that was his reasoning. He used the same light. It's just a simple speed light at a distance. We're shooting straight down on the pens, etc., so we get all the reflections up here. But it's just one speed light, low to the ground, and then Umberto's shooting straight down on it. Isn't that a fun shot? You see what I say? What I'm saying when I'm talking about the assignment? I want the shadow to be a big part of the image. In this case, the shadow is the image. It's really, really cool. Gene Hess did something kind of cool. Little color filter, where the filter is almost, we don't even really see the filter. We kind of know it is because we get a little bit of roundness up there. But then we see the shape of the filter here. And that's just the same as Umberto did one above. We don't know what that looks like unless we see the shadow. The shadow tells us about this cup. The shot tells us nothing about the cup. This tells us everything we need to know. And the same with Gene Hess's filter here. We think this is round, now we know it's round. And Gene just basically took a very simple approach to it. Take the filter, stand it up, and shine a light through it. And then shoot it straight down so she can get this shape coming out, almost like a flower petal. Very clever, very well done. Julie Leroux added some color to hers. She loves the colors coming through here. I do as well. So she's got a light shining on these guys. You can see it in the bottles. You can see the light here, and that light is giving us the shadows. Here is Julie's setup. Notice that Julie, in order to get the sharp edge on the bottles, Julie took off the reflector and is using just a white bulb. Just the bare bulb. Let's go back and look at it, and you can see how sharp those shadows are. They get a little soft up here, but they're surrounded by white and other things that are bouncing that light around. As you can see here, we've got light bouncing off of this. That highlight there is causing that softness up here, and on this side, the white card that's on this side behind the camera is causing a little softness over there. If you want it to be black, 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 sharp, 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 surround your light with something that will not reflect anything. In other words, we put black felt or black card or something around. Well, you want to be careful. If you use a black foam core, for instance, you can get a reflection off black foam core. Black foam core is a moderately diffuse surface, but it has just enough shine to it that you can get a nice kicker reflection off of it at the angle of incidence. So if you want this to be black, make sure there's no way for this light to bounce other directions, or you'll get these little soft things coming up here. But notice how sharp it is right there before the softness around it was able to insert itself into the image. Keith Emmons took these little bowling pins and created a wonderful shot where we don't know what these are when we first look at it, but the shadow again tells us exactly what we're looking at. Little bowling pins, little bowling ball, shot straight down with the camera straight down, so we've lost a little bit of the different shapes. We're picking it up a little bit here and there, and Keith lit it this way. He put him there, put his camera out over the set, and lit it from a gridded light up here. This light's got a grid on it. That's right there. That grid does what to the shadows? It keeps the light from bouncing all around and coming out and giving multiple shadows, so you end up with some pretty sharp shadows here. Pretty sharp. It's a great way to do it. It's a great thing to think about. I think it's a fabulous shot. Again, Keith Emmons, yep. We got Michelle Cushman's shot here. It's no longer Michelle Cushman, but this was a long time ago. We got this light from the side here. Light, she set it up. We didn't get to see the light. She's showing us how she put the light. It's now, it's not Michelle Cushman anymore. It's Michelle Collins. And Michelle, forgive my brain death here. But the shot that she wanted to show us all is this one. And I think this is a beautiful photograph. We really don't know what we're looking at if we just look at the subject. But when we see the bottle going all the way back and we see it from this angle, it becomes an abstract that is just really amazing. I think it's a beautiful photograph, really well done. Something that Michelle should be very proud of. It's a lovely shot, really catches your eye. Again, we don't see the light, but you can see where the light is. Just take the shadow back over here. It's a single speed light, and that's what we get. Isn't that great? Phil Kirschmeyer really took it to shadows. We don't really even notice until we look for them. Oh, there are bottles here, right? We see the bottles, we see the color. And Phil has given us absolutely perfect renditions of these little bottles here in the shadow. The shadows are the subject of the shot. It's really, really cool. How did he do it? He took his light right off the back here. Shined it right down through here, put the camera up here. He's using a snooted light. You can see what it is. It's a little Neewer strobe with a homemade snoot on it. It says it's approximately 8 inches away from where we're looking at here. And I'm sorry, 8 feet away, and then blasting across here. By making the opening so small and putting it at 8 feet away, look how sharp the shadows are. They're just driven. Also notice how there is a little bit of fall off on here, but it's pretty clean all the way through here. Get a little feeling of light. He also has black on both sides that he's using to control it. You can see the shadows here, but that's a surface. That's a surface. So these are not shadows. These are actually black cards brought into the shot. Those are the shadows. That's Phil Kirschmeyer's really, really nice shot. And Sandra Hemming's shot gives a lot of dimension. We can see the shape of the pizza slicer nicely on the wall. It's kind of fun to look at and think that the shadows coming from that. That's really fun. How did Sandra do it? She hung the pizza slicer and then photographed it with one speed light from a distance of 4 feet, and boom, we end up with that great shadow. It's really fun to play with the shadows. That's what we're doing on this particular assignment. So from Sandra Hemming's pizza slicer to Phil Kirschmeyer's perfume bottle, Michelle Collins' lovely blue bottle going back with this beautiful point of view. Point of view changes everything, by the way. We talked about point of view the other day, I think in one of the previous classes. Point of view changes everything. Such a different photograph than that, isn't it? It's really fun. We got Keith Emmons, a Dallas photographer, shooting the little bowling pins Julie LaRoe's colorful bottles, Gene Hess's great filter, just making almost like a little petal, little rose petal there. Umberto Valdez's great pens, all this stuff in there, and the shadows are just so much fun. It's really a blast to look at. Elizabeth Favara's very clever. Oh, I thought that was, I just realized that's not a stone. That's just that, boy, my eyes were playing tricks on me. I thought she had a stone there. Was cut. Wow, yeah, it's not. It's just the shadow. Wow. That's cool, Elizabeth. That's cooler than I think I remember doing the same thing when I first saw it. For some reason, I saw a dimension shape here. And then just now when it came out, I saw the absence and I saw exactly what it was. Yeah. For a photographer, I'm pretty blind. That's not funny. Anyway, Denise Jensen's lovely. Nice shot, knife shot here. Well done. Window light, just the sun coming in the window. And David McClellan's shot of the chess pieces. So that's your assignment. Do some shots. We want to see small light sources and big distinct shadows. Thanks very much. I'll see you next time, everyone.